In the world of motorsport, we are surrounded by cars. But we're also immersed in some very cool watches. But how are boutique watches actually made, and why the connection with motorsport? Well, today we're going to find that out. And don't you worry, there will be some car bits sprinkled in here too. But first, I'll let Sam introduce you to DAWSEY watches. Who am I here with?
I'm Sam, and I'm from DAWSEY Watches. So I specialise in manufacturing watches here in the UK from raw materials in my home workshop.
And can you talk us through the manufacturing of a DAWSEY watch? How does it work?
Yeah, sure. I can show you in a bit of detail how things go, but everything starts off with some raw material, and then I start off by milling it to shape and hand finishing it. Start off with raw billets of aluminium like this, that then get machined into case shapes, and eventually end up looking like finished cases, which are all hand finished.
So that's what's going on in the garage then?
That's what's going on in the workshop, yeah. And also the manufacture of the dials, that happens out in the workshop as well. So that one there, not engraved yet, but that also gets done outside.
So, obviously all of that goes on in the workshop. What exactly goes on here, assembling it all? How does that work?
So once I've got all the parts, I then build them into a watch. I fill the engraving with enamel, and I offer two different movements. So we've got either there a Japanese movement or a Swiss made movement. So I start off with the case, and then the movement goes inside the case, then the dial goes on top, then the hands, and finally I put the crystal in on top, which is then basically holds everything in. So this is an acrylic crystal, so shatter resistant rather than glass, so I prefer to use these. They can pick up scratches slightly, but they're very easily polished out with some Polywatch product. And after that, to make sure everything's all watertight, they're pressure tested twice. So I pull a vacuum through this little pressure testing port to make sure nothing's leaking, and then I fit the sealed screw in there, and then finally I pull a second vacuum test through the crown hole, so that then tests that test port as well. So it's basically, I can be certain that it's not leaking. Then, well, not just after, but during, I also check the accuracy of it on this time grapher, so that automatically detects how fast or how slow a particular watch is running. So just give it a few seconds. So we can see that one there is, at the moment, in that particular position, -1 second a day, with a beat error of nothing, which is good. So typically I would measure the position of the watch in a few different positions, and you can see how it changes. So I've gone to a different position there, and now it's +3 seconds a day. So it all depends on you know, where it is.
And why watches? What did it for you?
I've just always been interested in watches right from about the age of 5. I've got memories of going shopping with my mum and buying my first watch with my own pocket money, and I remember the salesman giving it to me and telling me that it's waterproof, and I thought that was incredible. And just exposure to watches over the years, and my interest in engineering and watches just aligned eventually, and DAWSEY became a thing.
So what was the first watch you ever loved then?
Well, if I think about my first ever watch, where it all started off was an old Swatch, and then I was very interested in G-Shocks. Me and my mum both bought G-Shocks at the same time, I remember. But I suppose the first watch that maybe I really loved was my Omega Speedmaster. Always wanted a nice Swiss watch. In my very early 20s, managed to save up enough to buy one. So I wore that, you know, for many years, and really enjoyed it. Still got it, obviously. So yeah, that's probably my most favourite.
That's really cool. So you've got a bit of a background in motorsport as well. Tell us a little bit about that, because you've got some interesting stories.
I do, yeah. So I started off my career in engineering, working in motorsport, and I used to design and manufacture equipment for motor racing and Formula One. It's predominantly safety equipment, so harnesses, fire suppression systems, but a lot of that taught me about the precision that's required within manufacturing, and a lot of that's carried through into my manufacturing of the watches, because certainly in the motor racing game, you know, you absolutely can't fail. So it's the same with the watches, really. That's kind of my ethos in terms of the construction and the design of the watch.
And going back to precision, what's so important to you about making components yourself in the UK?
I think for probably two reasons. Partly pride, and partly honesty, I think. I like to try and be quite open about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And to make things myself, I'm able to show people how I do it without giving away too many secrets. Yeah, I just try to... I don't try and dress up my watch to be something that it's not. I try and present it as it is. I don't over-finish the case in any way. I kind of leave the machining marks on to show that it was made by hand. Doing it in the UK means I can just make parts when I need them. I don't have to rely on someone else to make things for me. And this old lathe and mill combination you see behind us here, this is where I made the first ever prototype about 10 years ago. Yeah, since then I've just progressed and ended up with other machines, and yeah, it's good fun.
So talk to us about the actual watch. What's unique about it?
What's unique about my watches is the selection of materials. So they're very light. I'm using aluminium rather than stainless steel, which is the most popular material probably in watches. And the shape, there's very geometrical shapes to the watches, which all originally started and came to be because of how I made them. I was very limited on the equipment I had, so the shape of the watch that you're wearing there was all I could really do at the time. But since then, with other machines, I've been able to make more interesting things.
So what has making components taught you about the watch industry that customers and consumers might not realise?
I think as I'm making British-made watches, a lot of consumers may not realise that there's many British watch brands that are actually not manufacturing parts in the UK. There's many British brands that actually just are a business financially rather than actually manufacturing. So yeah, I'd like to see more of that happening, I think, in the UK. That would be nice.
So you're the first sponsor of my racing career. What led you to sponsor me? What made you kind enough to do that?
You're also the first person I have sponsored. And I remember getting the phone call from you, and I thought, why not, actually? You know, you left a message. And I looked you up, and I saw actually, you know, you've got a nice little YouTube channel, and I thought let's give this guy a go. Let's try and help him out. You know, I've got a history of motorsport, and yeah, maybe this will be good for him. If it's his first sponsorship, hopefully for Tim that'll lead to more sponsorship deals, and yeah, be nice to be a part of that journey.
Wonderful, thank you, and thank you for doing that as well. So we've just seen this in your garage, Sam. Tell us the story behind this.
So this is my Mini. This is my first car. I learnt to drive in this car. My granddad taught me to drive in this car, passed my test first time. So this is a 1976 Mini Clubman. Used to be red when I first bought it, and when I was about 19 I destroyed it and turned it yellow and took all the seats out, and it's got bucket seats and roll cages in it now. And I built a big engine and a big gearbox for it. Yeah, it's I've always kept it, and my 4-year-old son now absolutely loves it. So maybe one day I can teach him to drive in it. Engine from a Metro. And I set about rebuilding it. It's supercharged, so it's got a supercharger from a BMW Mini on it. So yeah, 164 horsepower. Oh my word! I think it weighs about 500 kilos. Yeah, it's less than half a ton. It's got fiberglass doors, fiberglass bonnet, fiberglass boot, plastic windows.
It's lighter than my Saxo.
Very light, yeah.
So Sam, there's an interesting thing I've picked up on about your business cards. Let's talk a bit through that.
Okay. Yeah. So my business cards, I make those too. And they start off as just blank cards, and every one is handmade. So here's my stamp, which is one that I designed and 3D printed myself using my 3D printer. So if you've ever picked up one of my cards at the show or one of my shows, they're all individual. Every one is going to be slightly different, because sometimes I don't get the stamp in exactly the same place every time. So just like my watches, really, every one is slightly different.
So what does the future hold for DAWSEY watches? What are you doing now?
So DAWSEY's it's grown quite organically. It started off, you know, just as a hobby making parts, and then has, you know, progressed to where I am now. So I've only been trading for about a year, and I've been making about one watch a month. So that's keeping me busy. So in terms of, you know, future development, I've got a few things I'd like to do this year. Better quality straps, different packaging I'm looking at. In terms of development of watches, not too much in terms of new models. I've already got my sort of 6 models, and I'm quite happy with that, but I might do some different additions. I'm going to work on different coloured dials.
Okay.
So that's kind of my goals for this year.
No, that sounds really cool.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.